You see, our gifts do more than we think sometimes. And it's not the amount of money he gave me. That wasn't the issue. It was him telling me as such that he loved me. Giving doesn't have to be monetary to be meaningful. People sent cards and gave food, and some just said wonderful things on social media. One friend came to just be there, and that in itself was a gift to me. Others offered help and did help in my time of emotional need. And all these gifts were saying something to me. They were saying, I love you. I care about you. And I get emotional just thinking of their kindness toward me. Gifts can also enhance a person's self-worth. There's the story about this tribe in Africa. It was their custom that if a man wanted to take a young lady's hand in marriage, their custom was for him to bring a dowry. And he could bring a sheep or a goat and give them to the father and say, look, I want your daughter to be my wife. Here's a sheep or a couple of sheep, or here's a goat. And if he really, really wanted her and didn't and basically wanted to seal the deal, he would bring a cow. Can you imagine a whole cow for the wife? And I heard Zig Ziglar years ago tell this story on Dr. Dobson's radio show. And there was this one girl, and maybe she wasn't the prettiest girl in the tribe, And she was kind of shy, and she was kind of backward and reticent, if you would, and just spent time around her father's hut, and probably thought that, it'd be hard for her to get a husband. And this young man looked at her, and he talked to her, and he kind of started taking a liking to her. And so he came to ask her hand in marriage from her father. And the father said, well, we need to have a dowry because that was the custom. You need to bring me something. And he probably thought, maybe a few chickens or something, maybe. And the young man brought not one cow, he brought 10 cows. He said, what do you think that did for that young lady's self-esteem? She wasn't a 1-cow wife. She was a 10-cow wife. Sometimes when we express our love and giving, it can help someone else's self-esteem. I met a man, here we are, I go back to my Army experience. Well, that's where I got saved, so I suppose that I go back to that quite a bit. And there was a guy that used to come down to my office, and he's just one of these people that was just full of personality. And he saw me one time typing a letter over my shoulder. I was writing a letter for a friend that I thought was dealt with unjustly, and I was writing to a lieutenant colonel to get some action. And he goes, oh, you're one of those radical Christians, aren't you? Well, I didn't think I was radical, but I just wanted to see something done, and I had some friends in high places. He goes, he came down another time and he says, could you pick me up a Bible? He wasn't a believer at all. And I said, well, yeah, sure. And he thought I had some kind of in with the chaplain, and I could just go get one out of the library for free, one of the paperbacks that they give away or something. But I didn't even go to the Army Chapel. I went to another church. And so on my lunch break, I drove out to the Bible and bookstore, and they had a sale on this Bible that they had, and it was normally twice as much, and it was like a 50% off. So for $10, I bought them a rather nice Bible. $10 was a lot of money back in those days, probably like, I don't know, 50, 60 now. And so I bought him the Bible, and one on the weekend, sometimes if you didn't make it to the mess hall, you had to just buy your own food somewhere else. And they had a cafeteria on post, and I said, well, I missed the mess hall. I'll just go by the cafeteria and buy lunch. And he was in there eating, and I got my meal, and I said, may I sit with you? And we weren't friends yet, really, but he would just come down to my office and talk. And he said, well, go ahead, sit down. So I put my plate down, and I looked at him, and then it dawned on me. I said, oh, I've got something for you. I said, you wait here, I'll be right back. And I went outside of the cafeteria, and I came back in, and I had a box, and I gave him the box. It wasn't gift wrapped or anything. I just gave him the box. And he opened the box, and in there was the brand new Bible with the gold leaf on the outside of the pages. And he just opened it up and turned the pages, and he was practically moved to tears that somebody would take out time and spend actual money for something that he was just asking for, pick me up a paperback or something for free. And I was just glad somebody was asking for a Bible. I didn't mean for it to have that kind of reaction. I just said, well, if somebody wants a Bible, I'll go get them a Bible. And he was moved. And he came to church and gave his life to Christ and won many people to the Lord over the years. Sometimes when you give a gift, you're telling someone how valuable they are to you. What was God telling the world when he gave his son? He was telling him that he loved him. Mary could not have known that this boy, who was to be king and sit on David's throne, one of the greatest kings of all history of Israel, she could not have known that someday he would die the death reserved for criminals. No, this was a day of joy. A son was given, and there would be peace on earth and goodwill toward men. This was the celebration of that joy and of that birth. Jesus was also telling the world that they were valuable to him. I remember when I first got saved. So can you remember back that far? Yeah. It's like it was yesterday. And I remember how special I felt when the Spirit of God manifested the presence of Christ in my life. When I came to him, and I remember putting my hands up in the air and saying, Lord, I've been wrong. I've been trying to do it in my own strength and by myself. I want you to come into my life and make me what you want me to be. Careful what you ask for. But he did. He came into my life, and I'll never forget that moment and that day. And it changed me. It changed me, and I felt so special at that time that God would manifest his love to me and cause me to understand why Jesus came, so that he could give his life for me. You say, well, preacher, it's not just you, it's me too. Yes. Yes, it's you too. But it is so personal. It is so personal that you say, he came to me, just as he came to you. I told you I felt special, and I still do. God didn't love us, though, because we were special or that we had anything to offer. We had nothing to offer him. As one songwriter said, we came to him weary, worn, and sad, and full of sin. We are special because we are loved by God. We weren't loved because we were special, but we've become special because we are loved by God. Jesus, from the day that he was born, began that which would become his life's mission, which was to express the Father's love to sinful mankind. A mission that would take him to the cross of Calvary, where he would give the ultimate gift, his life, for us, thus giving us a way to the Father and life everlasting, the greatest gift of all time. This gift of Jesus is a two-part gift. The first part of this gift is what we're celebrating this morning. The gift of Bethlehem. His birth, the joy, the peace, the love, and the hope. And then there's the second part of God's gift to us. And that is the gift of Calvary, the cross, where he died. And on that day we witness the horror and the cruelty borne by him for us. Calvary would not be possible without Bethlehem. Unfortunately, many people separate the one from the other. They celebrate Bethlehem. That's Christmas, right? We give gifts. We sing the songs, the music, and all of the decorations because Jesus was born into the world. And many times they leave the second part of the gift ignored. The gift of Calvary. Bethlehem wouldn't be necessary unless there was a Calvary. So as you give to others in this season and express your love to them, and please, hug them a little tighter and a little longer. This year. And remember God's gift. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. For unto us a child is born, and unto us a son is given. God expressed his love through Jesus Christ.